Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the September 27th, 2020 special edition of The Breast There Is, The Breast There Was, and The Breast There Ever Will Be Wrestling Podcast. Of course, my name is Mikey B, WWE, and today's special podcast is devoted to the pay-per-view this evening in the WWE Clash of Champions. There are 8 matches on the card for this evening. There's one on the kickoff show, but as always, I'm only giving predictions for matches that appear on the actual card. So I will go ahead and proceed with the predictions for the 8 matches going on tonight. And of course, since it's Clash of Champions, that means that there are championship matches going on all night long. So that's exciting. I guess, according to what I feel is what's going to happen, I think we're only going to see a few of those titles change hands tonight. But anyways, I will get right to that. Let's start with the first of the 8 matches. It's for the United States Championship, and it's Bobby Lashley taking on Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews has been the champion for a while, and the fact that Bobby Lashley in the Hurt Business, he's got his henchmen there. I guess Apollo Crews, he has his friends as well, but I just, if the WWE is trying to make the Hurt Business that faction a legitimate threat in the company, and for people to take notice, they need to win some belts and to start actually kicking everyone's butts. So I'm going with Bobby Lashley to win the United States Championship tonight over Apollo Crews. So that's one title I do believe that will change hands. So I'm going Bobby Lashley to win the United States Championship. The second match on the card is for the Women's Tag Team Championships, and it is featuring champions Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler taking on the Riot Squad. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler won these belts just recently at the little show that the WWE did following SummerSlam, which was the Payback, event that featured just a few matches. And seeing as how they just recently won these belts, I don't think it would be very prudent thinking by the creative team to have them drop the belts already. What I foresee happening is the two of them holding them for a while, eventually getting in a spat or a dispute, and then the two of them will lose the belts and face one another inevitably. So since that's what I figure is going to happen in this particular storyline, I don't see Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler dropping the belts yet. So therefore, I think they will retain the Women's Tag Team Championship belts tonight. Moving on to the third match of the card, it's for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, and it is featuring the champions Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro taking on Lucha House Party. Similarly to Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro have not held the belts very long, and in terms of two of the best and most underrated performers that the WWE has, look no further than Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro. These guys are unreal. They're so good, and if anything, a testament to their abilities and their underappreciation would be to at least keep them holding the belts for a while longer, because these guys have not won that many belts in recent years. So I'm going with those guys to retain these belts, certainly for a while longer yet. So Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro are my picks for that match. The fourth match on the card is yet another Tag Team Championship match. It's for, this time, the Raw Tag Team Championships. With the champions, the Street Profits, taking on Andrade and Angel Garza. I believe that, these guys had a match recently, and I felt Andrade and Angel Garza would be victorious. Wasn't the case. Street Profits retained. But I still feel that these guys, they haven't won the tag belts yet, so I think they're due. And Street Profits are due to lose to someone. So I'm choosing Andrade and Angel Garza to win the Raw Tag Team Championships tonight. Could be short-lived. I mean, it could return to the Street Profits soon, even on Raw, even on the next pay-per-view. Who knows? But I do think that a change-up is due, and I'm going with Andrade and Angel Garza to take the belts tonight from the Street Profits. So they're my pick for that match. Now, moving on to some singles matches for belts. We have next on the card is the SmackDown Women's Championship match featuring champion Bayley taking on Nikki Cross. Bayley's been holding this belt for a long time, well over a year. And while Nikki Cross, she's beginning to get more opportunities at these belts, and rightfully so. Right now, in the storyline, if anyone's been paying attention closely, her good friend, best friend in the story, Alexa Bliss, we've seen her being drawn further and further into the Fiend, Bray Wyatt's spell, and into his, into his corner, I guess. And in doing so, Alexa Bliss has kind of flipped a switch and flips out on certain people when, I guess, the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, commands her to, or summons her to, whatever you want to call it. But and so I actually do think Alexa Bliss is going to she's going to have a major role in tonight's events, not just in this particular match as well. I do think that Alexa Bliss will somehow, one of those moments will happen where she's supporting Nikki, and then something will go down, and she'll flip the switch, and then she'll probably wind up hurting Nikki Cross. So I think Nikki will be cheated tonight. I think she will. She's, a championship is coming for her in the future. But right now, I don't see Bayley dropping the belt yet, on account of Alexa Bliss probably doing something dirty to help, maybe inadvertently help Bayley win. But either way, Bayley's my pick to win the to retain the SmackDown Women's Championship. Moving on to the next match, we have the Intercontinental Championship triple threat match. It's a winner take all ladder match, and we have because we have a few people claiming that they were the Intercontinental Champions. We have most likely the rightful winner or holder, Jeff Hardy, and we also have Sami Zayn, who left on account of an injury earlier and claim he never lost it. Boy, when you talk about three incredible competitors too, much like Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura, these three guys can have a match with just about anybody. So the three of them together, I think, is going to be outstanding. I think this will be one of the best matches of the night, without question. And I got to say, just as far as, because all three are certainly excellent and deserving of this belt, but for me, the most entertaining part of it is the whole Sami Zayn angle with him, being disappeared for several months and then thinking that he is the rightful owner and arguing that point. I think that's pretty entertaining and funny. So I'm choosing Sami Zayn to win these belts and to carry that on for a bit at least. I imagine that a feud will carry on further with one or both of his opponents. But Sami Zayn, he's my pick to win this ladder match tonight with the Intercontinental Championships. Even though, of course, in the history of ladder matches, we know Jeff Hardy and the Hardy Boys, those guys have a lot of history there. But no, I don't know. I think that's too obvious, and I'm going Sami Zayn. I think he's going to win the belts tonight. Now the seventh match on the card next is for the WWE Championship, and it's between Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton in an ambulance match. And Drew McIntyre is, of course, the WWE champion defending here. Last month, these two squared off, and for the same WWE championship at SummerSlam. I personally felt that Randy Orton was going to win this belt and then, begin a feud here, and I was wrong. McIntyre retained. I think, though, the right thing to do creatively with the company is to do a belt switch here, because if you want to carry this feud on, there's got to be a few belt changes, or else it's going to die off very quickly and people will get bored very quickly. And with Randy Orton's recent mean streak, he's been on a tear, kicking everyone's butt, lots of legends and all sorts of people. He's awesome, and I like that I think it would be smart for them to, like I said in previous podcasts, have him win some more titles chasing the all-time record. That would add an extra dynamic, and it would make it more interesting for not only Randy Orton's career, but also for WWE viewers. So I think, and also because this is a gimmick match with it being a championship ambulance match, I think this is the perfect opportunity for Randy Orton to steal it here and to win the WWE Championship. That said, I do believe this feud will carry on certainly a few more months, possibly until, my guess would be until Survivor Series in November. And who knows, it could also work its way for a few more months, be off, but then be reignited at a time down the road. We'll see, but for now, I certainly feel Randy Orton will win the WWE Championship and carry on this feud even further. So he's my pick. And then in the final match of the night for the Universal Championship, we have recently crowned champion Roman Reigns taking on his real-life cousin, Jey Uso. Of course, the WWE has played up the fact that these two are literally family, related, blood cousins. So these guys, the WWE likes to, when you can get a personal storyline like that. That said, anyone that's been watching the WWE the last 5 years or so, it's very obvious that the company loves Roman Reigns and always wants to keep him as the face of the company if possible. However, lately, there's been a weird change in Roman Reigns' character, suggesting that he is turned heel on account of the fact that he has Paul Heyman by his side now. And that's interesting. I think I've been saying for a long time that they should have turned Roman Reigns heel. The time to do it would have been, I think, not now, though. They should have done it probably in the last several years, when the crowd was already booing him mercilessly. So it's interesting that they're doing this now. And the extra reason it is very interesting and intriguing that they made this heel change now is because it appears they are beginning to set up a feud with Roman Reigns and The Fiend Bray Wyatt. Following this event tonight. And personally, I thought that prior to COVID-19, the pandemic going on, and prior to Roman Reigns leaving the WWE for a while earlier this year on account of this, that that's what I thought they should have set that up for WrestleMania, the main event earlier this year was Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt, because The Fiend was on just such an incredible hot streak as a heel. But then they foolishly made him lose to Goldberg, like a month before WrestleMania, setting up a Goldberg-Roman Reigns matchup that never wound up happening because Braun Strowman filled Roman Reigns' spot and kept the belt and yada yada. But what I do think the original plans were for was Roman Reigns was going to beat Bill Goldberg at WrestleMania, much like Braun Strowman did, and then he would begin a feud with The Fiend that would have lasted several months probably. And that would have made a lot of sense, because if you look around in the WWE, you very seldomly see a babyface good guy against another babyface good guy, or a heel bad guy versus another heel bad guy. They typically like to have babyface versus heel. That's just how it's always worked. Good versus bad, right? So I do think that that would be a very strange dynamic, which would maybe suggest that The Fiend Bray Wyatt might become a babyface for a little while, a fan favorite. That's kind of crazy, but if they're going to go the Roman Reigns Fiend Bray Wyatt angle following this event tonight, then that's probably what's going to happen, because you can't have two heels going against each other for very long. It would certainly, I think, be intriguing initially, but I do not think in the long term that's just not the formula. They always go babyface heel. Look at the rest of this card tonight. You have lots of heels and versus baby faces. So that said, now getting back to the match at hand between Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, and certainly no disrespect or anything to Jey Uso, but this one to me is kind of the easiest call of the night. I do think Roman Reigns will retain the belt, and he will do so in a fashion that will further cement his heel status, his new heel status now. Meaning, once he beats Jey Uso, once he defeats him, he's going to probably pummel him some more, which is a trademark move, signature move of a heel character, to take cheap, dirty shots on someone when they're down and vulnerable. That's what they're going to do with Roman Reigns. And then I think following that said beatdown, The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, and maybe Alexa Bliss will emerge and there will be probably, like I can already see it, the final shot, the camera shot we all see will be Roman Reigns and the Fiend staring at one another, probably Alexa Bliss by the Fiend's side. So that said, Roman Reigns is my pick for the Universal Championship match. Of course, the rest of the stuff outside of the match is speculative, but they've already been hinting at that. And again, I already felt that they were going to do this earlier this year. That was the intention before Roman Reigns had to leave on account of the pandemic. So there you are. So now, just before I wrap it up, I will give a quick rundown of the winners, just in summarization here. So we got Bobby Lashley winning the United States belt. I have the Women's Tag Team Championships, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler retaining. I also have the SmackDown champions, Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro, retaining. I have the Raw Tag Team Championships changing hands to Andrade and Angel Garza. I have Bayley retaining the SmackDown Women's Championship. I have Sami Zayn winning the Intercontinental Championships in the ladder match. I have Randy Orton winning the WWE Championship. And I have Roman Reigns retaining the Universal Championship. So there you have it, folks. I do think this will be a more interesting event than some of the recent ones because all the belts are on the line. So hopefully it'll be an entertaining show. And plus, we're getting to the exciting time. Once Survivor Series is approaching imminently, and then soon thereafter is the build up to WrestleMania with the Royal Rumble and everything. So things really start to pick up come later in the year. So I think this will be a pivotal pay-per-view heading into that big run of pay-per-views coming up. So thanks very much for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel below if you liked what you heard. Let's hopefully enjoy a great Clash of Champions show. Thank you very much, and see you next time.